reflections on the water, more than darkness in the depths. See him surface in every shadow. On the wind I feel his breath. GoldenEye, I found his weakness. GoldenEye, he'll do what I please. GoldenEye, no time for sweetness, but a bitter kiss will bring...
After the release and commercial disappointment of License to Kill, fans had to wait a long 6 years until the next Bond film, the longest ever wait between official films. Initially, there was to be a follow-up, tentatively called The Property of a Lady, but the legal hassles with the series had reached a crucial point, and this caused the project to be delayed and eventually cancelled. Besides, the film Octopussy was already heavily based on the story The Property of a Lady, so I don't know what they would have done with it. Once the red tape was finally cut through, they started to work on a new film, a completely original story entitled GoldenEye. Although it was originally written assuming that Timothy Dalton would star in it, however, Dalton unexpectedly quit the role sometime in 1994. Interestingly, the original choice to replace Roger Moore was Pierce Brosnan. However, he couldn't be Bond then due to contract issues with his TV show Remington Steele. However, the show had now ended, and Brosnan became the new 007. Right from the beginning, it's clear with GoldenEye that things are different. Besides the new Bond, there's a new M, now played by Judi Dench, the first woman to play the role, and in the film it suggested the first woman to be M. I imagine some people probably took issue with this, however Judi Dench is my personal favorite M, so they can suck it. There's also a new Miss Moneypenny, Samantha Bond, the first and so far final actress to play the role in the official series. The movie is also missing the familiar character Felix Leiter, presumably because Eon Films did not want to use this storyline from the book Diamonds Are Forever, the first Leiter appeared in after being disabled, where he was reintroduced as a private investigator. Rather, Leiter is replaced by Jack Wade, a competent but brusque CIA agent, played by John Doe Baker, who interestingly played the villain Whitaker in The Living Daylights. But cast changes aren't the only ones. This was the first Bond movie to be released and take place both after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Soviet Union, making many people question whether or not the character was still relevant. The film directly addresses this and attempts, rather successfully, to modernize the character. Another change is that Maurice Binder, the guy who designed all the sequences that play during the theme songs, and had done so since Dr. No, died in 1991. The job was passed to Daniel Kleinman, who heavily uses CGI. Though a lot of people like to bitch about CGI, there's no denying that the modern title sequences are better than the old ones, and GoldenEye is one of the best. Anyway, on to the plot. The movie starts in Russia, where Bond and 006 are on a mission together to blow up a facility. They're compromised, and 006 gets shot, and Bond blows up the place and escapes. It then flashes forward 9 years later to Monte Carlo, where Moneypenny is attempting to give Bond a performance review, which is a pretty funny scene. In the film, and the ones to follow, Samantha Bond plays Moneypenny as much more than a mere secretary, which is, to me, at least, a welcome change. Bond meets Xenia Onatop, a sadistic assassin who gets sexual pleasure from killing. She's played by Famke Janssen, one of the most sexual Bond girls ever on film. She's the only one ever shown having an orgasm, and she does it while killing a guy. Pretty hardcore. Anyway, Xenia steals a prototype helicopter that's immune to all sorts of electronic jamming. Bond traces her to the Yana Syndicate and starts investigating. Meanwhile, another drama is playing out in Russia, where a prototype satellite weapon, GoldenEye, is fired on a facility in Severnaya. The culprit is General Ormov, played by Gottfried John, who also works for Giannis. The only two survivors are two computer hackers, Boris and Natalia, played by Alan Cumming and Izabella Scorupco, respectively. Natalia escapes while Boris was working for Giannis all along. Bond and his new CIA contract and an ex-KGB named Valentin Zukovsky, played by Robbie Coltrane, set up a meeting between Bond and the head of Giannis, who turns out to be the not-quite-dead 006, Alec Trevelyan, played by Sean Bean, and he's got to be one of the best Bond villains in a while. While Alec tries to blow both Bond and Natalia up in a helicopter, but Bond manages to eject both of them. Bond tracks Alec to Cuba, and along with Natalia, who must hack the GoldenEye, they set out to take down the Yana Syndicate. It all wraps up really well with a lot of great action. Xenia gets impaled on a tree, Natalia stops the GoldenEye, and the satellite dish gets dropped right on Alex's head. Even that fucker Boris gets owned with liquid nitrogen. Invincible my ass. GoldenEye is often considered to be among the very best Bond movies, and it's not hard to see why. A lot of people grew up with this one, or they saw it because they enjoyed the video game so much. Now, as good as the game is, the movie's even better, and that's saying a lot. There's so much cool stuff here. I especially love the chase scene where Ormov has Natalia captured and Bond chases him with a tank. It's frickin' great. It also has one of the best and most humorous endings in the series. Pierce Brosnan also does a great job as 007. Even though I prefer Dalton's approach, Pierce does a good balance of Bond's dangerous side, as played by Dalton, and his suave, witty side, as played by Roger Moore. GoldenEye, in a lot of ways, was a reboot to the series that was needed after the world had changed very much from the time when the character was created. For this reason, and for so many others, I have to give GoldenEye the perfect score. 10 out of 10.